Well, morning guys. It's been another 24 hours since the last video. This is the end of the cleaning today. I'm going to tip the stuff through it one more time, leave it to drain through, and then I'll be getting the DPF out and pinning it up. Got to start by apologising for the lack of commentary and audio on the previous clips. It's solely on me. I've got a terrible habit of putting my thumb over the microphone, especially when I've got the gloves on. But I shall try not to do it. But I get carried away with what I'm doing. I so concentrate on what I'm doing and not what I'm filming half the time. And that's how I come to do it. But anyway, we'll get the cover off. It drizzled with rain last night, so I'm very glad I put that on. And like I said, this will be the last top up today. I'm just going to do this one last time. Fill it up this one last time, leave it to drain through, and then I shall stand it up to drain all night. And then hopefully tomorrow, weather permitting, I'm going to refit it. But they have forecast rain for tomorrow, and much as I need the car, I ain't calling about under the car in the rain. I'm way too old to be doing that kind of crap nowadays. That's a young man's game, crawling about under motors in the pouring rain. I'd do it if I had to, but I've been without the car nearly 3 months now, or 2 months. Another day's not going to hurt. It's forecast nice weather for Sunday. Oh, and also today's Friday the 13th. So who knows what could go wrong. Let's hope nothing. Again, I'm not pointing the camera where I'm putting stuff. I've just realised. Not a very good YouTuber. Really not. But you get the gist of what I'm doing. Or hopefully you do anyway. Like I said, filling this up for the very last time. I wouldn't say that the stuff's particularly any dirtier. I think we've got out all what we're going to get out of this thing. And if it doesn't work this time around, well, I'm not going to be trying to clean it again, let's put it that way. Nobody can say that I haven't tried. I really have put the effort in. We got bubbles coming out the top. That's what we like to see. That'll do. Right, like I said, that's the last fill. I'm not doing it again now. We'll wait for that to all drain through. So I'll leave it a couple of hours. And then, like I said, it's coming out and it's going on the post. The only difference is it's going to go that way up, where I normally put it the other way up. It's going to go as it is now. So it drains in the direction of flow. And then tomorrow I'll probably give it a quick blowout with a hoover. And a quick suck with a hoover before I try to fit it. Like I say, the gazebo's still wrecked. I haven't bothered to do it yet. I have got a new car. I've got a big heavy duty tarpaulin I bought to go over the top. It's sitting there actually, 4x4 metre. Bought that back in the summer because I knew this cover weren't up to much. So that will be going on at some point. But if this gets rained on now and soaking, well, I'm not too bothered. I've done what I needed to do, so the fluid will be going on the garden when I finished. Hopefully it's going to be a nice weed killer. But not the most environmentally thing to do, friendly thing to do with it, but the state of my garden, all the weeds at the bottom there. I'm not actually bothered. And the amount of rain we get, it's going to get diluted down pretty quickly. Anyhow, we'll leave it there for the time being. I'll do a clip when I get it out and stick it up on the post. And once again, apologies for the previous videos with lack of audio with my thumb over the microphone. I'm getting better as I go. Anyway, catch you in a bit. Right guys, I've taken it out of the bucket. I decided to leave it all day and I've topped it up and run it through another couple of times. I know I said I weren't going to, but I'm desperate for this to work. So it's had a good 100-hour soak all told now in different directions. There's the cable clips I pulled off it. And I've stuck her on the table. And just for tonight now, I can't do it yet because it's still all full of bubbles in there. But once this settles down and stops dripping, I'm going to put some in this end. And it's not on a brick this time, it's dead level. Just so that I get a layer in there overnight, just along with whatever much can go in there is what I'll put in. It won't be a lot, I don't suppose, but it'll be enough just to try and clear it along its whole length, in case I have missed any part of it. It did stay in there quite well, I've got to be honest. When I pulled the candle out, a hell of a lot come out. Oh, if you're wondering what the white bits are in there, if you can see them or not, all the white bits floating on the surface, they're all bits of wax, bits of candle. And yeah, I know there's going to be some in there, but I'm not too worried about wax. So like I said, if it gets hot, it's just going to melt and either blow out the back or burn off, one or the other. The outside of the DPF is now heavily contaminated with the winds where it's spilt all over it. So I'm hoping that the weatherman have got it right, because they said it's going to rain tonight. And because we've got no cover anymore, it should rinse it off for me. Otherwise I've got to rinse it off myself tomorrow. But anyhow, that's what I'm going to do now. I'm just going to leave it like that for the next hour or so. Then I shall pop back out here, top it up from this end until it starts to run out of this end, and then just leave it overnight, and then tomorrow I'll upend it, drain it out. If the weathermen are right, nothing's going to happen because they forecast rain all day tomorrow. But if the weathermen have got it wrong, I shall stick it back on the car and see what happens. So that's another day done. Another day with this DPF. I promise you there won't be many more. In fact, tomorrow will be the last one, I should imagine, unless things go horribly wrong. Tomorrow will definitely be the end of it, because I've just had enough of it now. And if it don't work, it's a case of either scrapping the car completely, or it'll just live on the driveway until I can get another DPF, one or the other. Anyhow, that's it from me for tonight. Wish you all a very good evening. Good morning everybody. I even know what day it is, it's day 11, how about that? Right, Friday the 13th reared its ugly head, although it sort of happened on Saturday the 14th. Started last night. In my wisdom last night I decided to lift it out of the bucket, put it on the table, and I don't know if you can see this with the camera, I put it at an angle so it was sort of tilting that way more. I propped it up higher on one side with the brick than that side. Filled it up so that it wouldn't come out, it was sitting in there. Left it overnight, got up this morning, and it has leaked from somewhere. There's no fluid left in the DPF at all, it's all gone, it all leaked out, all over the table, and all over the floor. Then, this morning, I let the dogs out, and they decided to kick the bucket over. So all that was left in there, that's all over the floor as well. So, first job today, I'm going to be getting the hose pipe and washing everything down, because the stuff is everywhere. And just to make things a bit more interesting, the wind's getting up. But it's not raining. It did rain in the night, but it's not raining now. So hopefully with a bit of luck we might get it on today. We can hope. Right, so the first thing we're going to do, hose everything down, I think, try and get rid of as much of it as we can. There is still some left in there. I wanted to see what contaminants was in that, but There's some left at the bottom there, but I suspect most of it got kicked out when the dogs kicked it over. So unfortunately we don't get to see what was actually in there. Anyhow, moving on. We'll get the hose pipe. We don't need an end on it, just to rinse off kind of thing. Just to give everything a rinse off. I didn't get much water through there. Oh, there we go. Well, there's plenty of dirt on the table in that stuff. Got my boots on, by the way. Right, and just rinse the floor off a little bit, I suppose. Just trying to dilute the stuff down so that it's not so toxic. I mean, if it's going to do any damage, it's already done it. Chuck that in there and wash that out. There's a few lumps of black in there floating about. Right, stick that under there for a sec. And we'll turn it off. And I reckon that'll do, we've got rid of the worst of it. Am I turning that off or on? That's off. Right. I mean, what we'll do now, we'll stand the DPF up on the post then, and cable try it in there. I'll put it on the brick because I do want to rinse out the one end, but I don't want it going through the DPF, because I noticed last night there was a lot of candle wax floating about in this end, and this is the end that blows through from the downpipe, and I don't want that being forced through the DPF. So even though, like I said, the exhaust will probably melt it and push it through no problem anyway, I'm going to rinse this end, just this end out, just with the hose, just to get the loose of the wax out. But that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to leave it to drain naturally other than that, and leave the winds in there. So I'm going to put it up on that post with a cable tie, leave it for about an hour, and then we're going to see about putting it on the car. So I've got it on there draining out now, as you can see, dead upright. I'm just going to wash the bottom out with a bit of water just to remove any excess wax, like I said. So I've got to put the hose pipe back on again. And like I said, I'm just doing the bottom, I'm not running water through it. Just want to get out any wax that might be in the bottom there that's loose enough to come out. So it doesn't blast through the actual DPF. I mean, I'm not bothered if there's some in there. Like I said, the heat of the exhaust is going to sort that out without too much of a problem. That'll do. So yeah, just leave it now for an hour or two, and I'm going to stick it on the car. Oh, while it's camera's running, this is the colour of the stuff that came out through the breather pipe last night. It is most definitely darker. You can't see any light through that at all. It's like black paint. So we have definitely cleared more out of it. I might tip that through it actually. I think I will. I have one last little run through. There we go. Why not? And that's that done. Right, like I said, I'm going to leave it for a couple of hours. Come straight through, look, look. That DPF is definitely clearer. Look how quick that came through. So we'll leave that now, like I said, for a couple of hours. Just to all finish dribbling through. And then I'm going to mount it very loosely on the car. I need to put them back on while I remember. They need to go back on. Otherwise I'll forget to put them on. There we go, that's them on. Right, so yeah. I'll leave that, I'll untape the breather pipes. And just leave it to stand for a couple of hours. So hopefully the next clip you see will be me putting it back on the car. Right, we're out the front, DPF's still out the back. I love doing this. I haven't got a clue what's going to happen. I'm going to try and start it. So I warm the engine up for 10 minutes or so before I put the DPF on. So it's been sat here for the best part of a fortnight. We've had some lousy weather. There's no DPF on there, it's just for downpipes. It's going to be a bit noisy. Let's see if all the lights go out. Ah, the engine light stayed on this time. Ah, but it's gone off with the engine running. Right. Oh, and the belt's throwing off, look. Lovely. So now we're not charging the alternator. Terrific. Now I've got to muck about with that and try and get that back on. I knew I should have done it. Ah, it's one thing after another with me. Morning everybody, welcome to day 12. As you can see, the DPF is still sat where it was yesterday when it was supposed to be put on the car. Why is it still sat there? Well, what you just saw a moment ago was the previous day for me. The belt fell off, and what you didn't see was the next 3 hours I spent putting the belt back on. And every time I put the belt on, so it came off. So, cannot find a picture online to show me how the belt is supposed to be routed. I've been putting it on what looks to be the only logical way, but every time you start the engine it kicks off. So I'm going to have one more attempt at putting the belt on this morning. I'm not going to put it on the way it looks like it's supposed to go. I'm going to try it a different way, because it's a Mazda and things often don't make sense on Mazdas. If it fails and the belt still kicks off, providing the rain holds off, it's raining now but it's only a light drizzle, I can stand that just about. Providing the rain holds off, I'm going to hook up a battery charger to the car. I'll take the belt off and just run it with a battery charger on. The belt drives the aircon, the alternator, and that's pretty much it really. Comes off the cam. There's nothing else on it. So it's fine to run it without the belt. There's no water pump on it. The water pump must be mechanical inside the engine or something. So that's the plan. It's either going to go, it's going on one way or another today. Unless it hammers down, that will stop me. As you can see, I stuck a bag over the top, stop any water getting in there, because it did forecast rain. But I'm worried now that wind is going to start solidifying in there if I don't get it on the car quickly enough and pump it through. Anyhow, hopefully the next bit of video you see is that sat on the car and the engine running. We shall see. Right, well I can't get this belt to stay on whatever I do. So what I've done is I've pulled it up out of the way, look. The engine's just running on the tick over at the minute. I'm just trying to warm it up a little bit before I get the DPF. As you can hear, it's just a downpipe, there's nothing else on there. What I've done is I've hooked up a battery charger to it. It's a 12 amp battery charger and I got it on the fast charge, so that should provide plenty to keep the engine running on its own. I should imagine that battery charger would be enough to run the engine, but the battery was pretty much fully charged anyhow, so we shouldn't have an issue there. Again, there's nothing on the on that belt, there's no water pump on that belt, so we should be absolutely fine. But we'll keep an eye on the gauges and see what happens. I don't want to fully warm the engine up, I just want to get it a bit warmer so that it's easier for it to start when the DPF's attached. And when I first put the DPF on, I'm not going to tighten it up anyhow. That's going to be a bit of a gradual process. So fingers crossed, you'll get to see it regardless, or we'll upload the video whether it goes wrong or right. You know what I'm like, I upload everything. Even when I put my thumb over the mic, I upload it. Anyway, I want to move from here, I'm getting a bit gassed. So, hopefully the next clip you see will be me with the DPF. Well guys, success in as much as it's running with the DPF on. I haven't hooked it up to the, what's it called, the exhaust itself. But I have bolted the DPF to the downpipe and it's blowing through it. And I don't think we'll be able to see it, but there's bubbles coming out. I've stuck a bucket under. Hopefully you can see that. Just to catch it, and then if you don't see it, the smoke's coming through nice and black. There's some real crap coming out of that. So that's why I've stuck the bucket under there to catch it. Because I don't want it all over the driveway. But success. And as far as cleaning the DPF out, this time I think we've got somewhere. I mean, the very fact that the engine's running with it on is a huge improvement on the first round of when I first done it. It's not running the best, but it is running. And there's lots of crap coming out, and of course it's blowing out the side because I haven't attached the tailpipe. I didn't want the added pressure. But we'll leave that run through now for about 10 minutes. And then I'll put the tailpipe on and blast it all the way through the whole thing then. But it seems to smoke a hell of a lot when it's in tick over. If I throttle it up a little bit, that smoke tends to go for some strange reason. Oh no, it's not this time, it must be that must be the winds. But that is running through the DPF. So, a vast improvement. So excuse me if I'm sounding chuffed, but I've had the bucket underneath and had it running for about 20 minutes, and there's what came out. That's all pure winds, there's no water in there at all. That's actual winds that's blasted out of the DPF. And it's been draining for, well, I suppose nearly 2 days, yeah. As you can see, it's not as dirty as I thought it would have been. We must have shifted a lot of it with the rinsing with the winds. But yeah, I'm pretty chuffed. So I'm just waiting for it to cool down a little bit now, because obviously I'll have got the DPF hot where it's been bolted up to the engine. And I'm going to attach it, then crawl underneath, attach it to the tailpipe. I might put the breather pipes on while I'm under there, but I'm not going to put the terminals on yet. I'll still leave them off for the time being. And then we'll start it up again then and run it through the actual exhaust. And then providing it runs through that, well, we're looking good then. But anyhow, I shall add another clip in a minute when I do that. But feeling pretty chuffed at the moment. And it has used a bit of battery, look, 68%. So, yep. You wouldn't think the engine would use that much, but it does. So as you can see guys, I have connected up the exhaust. and it's now running through, and there's no black bubbles coming out of it, or there's a few little drips, but nothing too major. We caught most of it in the bucket straight out of the DPF when I connected it up direct to the downpipe, and you can see the colour of it now because the bubbles have all gone, but that's what actually blew out of the DPF. Actually pretty clean, I think, but with 110 hour rinse in the winds, it's not surprising. But yep, I'm going to chalk this one up as a success. I'm pretty pleased with that. The engine's running not too bad, it sounds alright. The lights have all come back on the dashboard, but that's to be expected. I haven't connected anything up yet. None of the connectors are connected up, all the breather pipes, so I'm still just running it through. But I can easily reset them codes. Oh, I read online the other night, something I'm going to try actually, about how you can reset them without a tool. Apparently this doesn't work on all cars, but apparently you've got to discharge the capacitors, and they're what hold the memory. And the way you do that is disconnect the earth terminal on the car. Well, on this car I always disconnect the live because it's easier to get to, but you should always disconnect the earth first. Disconnect the earth and switch something on, and just leave it on for 10 minutes or so. It won't come on, but what it will do, that will drain any energy that's left in the capacitors. Oh, and turn the ignition on. That will drain anything left in the car that's being stored. So turn the lights on, turn the ignition on with no battery connected. Leave it for like 10-15 minutes, and that should clear the codes. Doesn't work on every car apparently, but if you have got a code problem and you haven't got a tool to reset it, then worth trying. Bear in mind though, some cars you might need to reset the radio code if you disconnect the battery, so don't go screaming at me if you do that and you lose your radio. Not every car, but some cars. Anyhow, I'm going to wrap that up for today and upload that. We're going to go down a parts shop tomorrow where they pull up a diagram of the engine where I can see the way that belt's supposed to be routed, because I spent about 2 hours looking last night and I cannot find a picture of the way that belt's routed. So we've still got problems, and of course then we've got to rebuild the front, but we've got some tiger glue for that. One of my friends works at oh god, what's the name of the car? Aston Martin over in Roos, and apparently it's for stuff they actually build the cars with. They glue them together. Yeah, how about that? Modern cars are glued together. But anyhow, we're going to get some of that, and we're going to primarily glue the front on. Apparently the stuff will stick anything, and once it goes on it don't come off. So yep, that's probably what we're going to do. I'll still put some aluminium behind these bits that are all broken out and put a hole on them and bolt it on the top bits, but all the rest of it we'll just glue on. You can even glue it in the wet apparently. But anyhow, I've had enough for today now. Hope you've well, it's been a marathon if you followed the series. It has been a long old road. It's taken us a long time to get here, far longer than it should have done. But if you've been with me from the start, thank you very much. Would I do this again? Probably not. I don't know. I've learnt a lot. Learnt a hell of a lot. I don't think it's strictly necessary to do all the pre-washing that I did. I think that's just but saying that winds is pretty clean, and this DPF was clogged solid, so it's your own sort of what you feel's right. Also, it's a lot easier in the summer than in the winter, but I'm pretty chuffed. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I may do some more videos as regards putting the front back on, and when we figure out how to do the belt, if we figure out how to do the belt. So there may be another video. If not, thanks for watching, and catch you all again one day. Bye bye.